At the beginning of the movie, the Martians celebrate their 25th year of independence from the tyranny of the Earth Defense Force on Eos. During the celebrations, Alec Mason, a retired leader of the Red Faction army, is hailed a hero for his cooperation with the Marauders to defeat the 200 years of tyranny imposed by the Earth Defense Force. The alliance between the Red Faction of the colonists and the Marauders is however broken after the Marauders attack and kill Alec's wife Sam and his daughter Lyra for what they took as a betrayal when Sam, a Marauder, married a colonist outside of her tribe, turning Alec into a drunk, sullen man. Alec's son, Lieutenant Jake, has somehow escaped the attack and has grown up following in his father's footsteps to be a current lieutenant in the Red Faction. Alec and Lieutenant Jake don't see eye to eye on many aspects, which leaves them estranged from one another and don't see each other except on occasions when the lieutenant has to arrest Alec for his drunk and disorderly acts. One day, Commander Ben, Lieutenant Jake's superior officer, who also happens to be very good friends with Alec, learns that a piece of Hydra, part of a complex technology operated by the Earth Defense Force, has been discovered on the Eos side of the border with the Marauders, so he leads his team to collect it before the Marauders get their hands on it. To help him identify the Hydra, Commander Ben employs the expertise of Earth technology expert Tess de la Vega. They start their journey in their shuttle and travel some distance quite smoothly. Then just as they near the location of the Hydra, they are intercepted by unknown frequencies. After some turbulence, they manage to get past it and land safely. All the soldiers partner up and go exploring for the Hydra. Lieutenant Jake takes Tess with him and they go into the deep caverns. There, they are confused to find multiple Marauders dead at the gate. Then as they progress deeper, they find the Hydra with its communication technology still intact. However, they couldn't get near it as a group of soldiers in all white fatigues, who were in the process of stealing an unidentified box. Lieutenant Jake follows them and attacks one of the white fatigued soldiers, and the lieutenant manages to take off the soldier's mask to be completely bewildered to recognize her as his long-lost and considered dead sister, Lyra. Lieutenant Jake freezes in shock, and the white-fatigued soldier uses the opportunity to run and escape. Lieutenant Jake tries to process the sight of Lyra and the white-fatigued soldiers, who he remembers to be the same ones that attacked and took his mother and Lyra all those years ago when he was just a child. The mission is halted, and the Red Faction returns to Eos. Jake recounts what happened to Commander Ben, hoping to discuss a way to find Lyra. Commander Ben calmly shuts down the conversation, adamantly stating that Lyra can't have survived the attack from all those years ago. Commander Ben asks Alec to talk to his son, hoping he would get through to him and stop him before doing something stupid. Alec tries to explain to his son how unlikely it's for Lyra to still be alive with the Marauders, but the lieutenant, after what he's seen earlier, insists that it was never the Marauders that attacked Sam and Lyra. Instead, it was the white-fatigued soldiers. This leaves the father and son at odds once again. Then Matriarch Omea, the matriarch of the Marauders, ignores the colonists' claims of innocence and blames them for the death of her men during their exploration of the Hydra, and warns that if any Martians are seen on her side of the borders, they will be executed immediately. Lieutenant Jake doesn't heed this warning and prepares to go find the white-fatigued soldiers. Tess tracks him down and begs him to go with him, as she wants to explore Hydra and its technology more. Lieutenant Jake takes her with him, and she tells him that according to her study, Asimov is the likely destination for the white-fatigued soldiers. As soon as he learns this, the lieutenant drops Tess off in the middle of nowhere to continue his travel alone. To get to Asimov, Lieutenant Jake is forced to pass through Marauders' very dangerous territory. He gets to the Marauders' border, discreetly deactivates the gate, and passes through unnoticed. At night, he camps out at a remote place. Then a couple of Marauders, Leo and his partner, see him and try to attack him. They get into a fight, and the lieutenant wins, but doesn't kill them as he knows it will benefit him to have them mortally indebted to him. The Marauders then decide to pay him for saving their lives and accompany him so that he won't face any danger on his way to Asimov. Back in Eos, Commander Ben and Alec discover that Lieutenant Jake is missing and panic. Alec, out of desperation, does the unthinkable and contacts Matriarch Omaya of the Marauders on his own and begs her to spare his son's life. The matriarch is annoyed at the request and Lieutenant Jake's disrespect and refuses to cooperate. Alec is found communicating with the matriarch by members of the Red Faction army and arrested on charges of treason. Meanwhile, in Asimov, Lieutenant Jake and his marauder friends try to navigate the area without attracting too much attention to themselves. All of a sudden, Leo, who was walking sluggishly behind them, gets targeted and a woman takes him aside. His friend realizes this and starts looking for him. Unaware of the situation, Lieutenant Jake proceeds forward, hoping to find the local tradesman to ask for information. Meanwhile, Tess, who had been following the lieutenant, intercepts him and tries to find out the true motives of his travel. The local tradesman comes to Lieutenant Jake and offers him his services. The lieutenant asks for the location of the white fatigued soldiers, but finds that it would cost him a lot of money. During the conversation, Tess cracks and downloads the location coordinates the lieutenant is looking for remotely. The deal falls through, and as Tess and Lieutenant Jake walk away, they find Leo and his partner fighting for their lives. Lieutenant Jake intervenes and saves their lives, which once again puts the Marauders in mortal debt. Tess and Lieutenant Jake say their farewell to the Marauders and continue on their way following the coordinates. Then they reach a place that has them bewildered, as it is too strategically placed to be picked up by the satellites of any of the Martians. Tess realizes then that the firepower and communication kit they found at the Hydra site was probably needed to start this sophisticated shuttle. They approach it slowly and enter after disarming the guards. Inside, Lieutenant Jake sees many white fatigued soldiers, among whom is Lyra, and runs after she dodges the surveillance. As soon as Lyra sees the lieutenant, she recognizes him to be her long-lost brother, but is confused as she believes him to be dead. The white fatigued soldiers swarm the hall and start attacking Lieutenant Jake, while Lyra tries to protect the lieutenant. Elsewhere, the Marauders feel that their colonist friends are in danger and come to help them out and defeat the white fatigued soldiers. Stroller, the leader of the white factions, gets to the fight in time and rescues Lyra from the chaos. He takes her aside and, together with her partner Adam Halls, tells her that there's no way the lieutenant is her brother, as he has found all her family dead at a crash site and rescued her as a kid. Lyra believes him once again and apologizes for ever doubting him. However, as soon as Lyra leaves, Stroller shares with Adam that Lyra, along with other kids, were targeted and kidnapped to be brought back to the White Faction many years ago as a virus wiped out all their young population, and they needed to make sure the continuity of their kind. He adds that among the kids that were brought, Lyra was especially targeted, as she is Alec's daughter, the man who has defeated and embarrassed the White Faction, and her kidnapping was used to crush the Great Man. Lyra then joins the White Faction in attacking the intruders. A fierce fight breaks and Tess takes a bullet trying to protect Lieutenant Jake. This shocks everyone and they try to resuscitate her. The Marauders retaliate and successfully fight off the White Faction, and they, together with Lieutenant Jake, carry Tess to their shuttle and escape in a rush to get back to Eos and inform their people of what they've learned. That the White Faction is planning an attack on Eos disguised as Marauders and vice versa. This way, the Eos and Marauders get in a war with each other and wipe each other out, leaving the White Faction to rule over Mars and build a dynasty. And so they get back to the shuttle and fly back to Eos. On their way back, they see the White Faction fire its missile and attack Eos. When they get to Eos, they see the place is full of chaos. Everyone is furious at the Marauders, believing they're behind the attack and planning to carry out a response attack. Matriarch Omaya is summoned and asked to explain, but she denies any involvement, which worsens tension. Tess is taken to be treated, and Lieutenant Jake tries to explain what's going on, but no one is interested in what he has to say, and instead imprisons him, along with his Marauder friends, for flying to the White Faction without authorization. They find Alec in prison and inform him of everything. Alec still doesn't believe that Lyra is alive, but hesitatingly agrees to help them. The Marauders break open the prison, and all of them, including Alec, escape. Lieutenant Jake now sees that there's no point in trying to convince the hierarchy of the looming danger, and so leads the Marauders and his father to the shuttle to try and fight off the White Faction and save Eos. They go back to the White Faction shuttle and enter it, while Alec stays back in the shuttle. Stroller is furious as he's alerted of their entrance and suspects that Lyra might be helping them, so he attacks her, and an intense fight ensues. Lieutenant Jake walks into this fight and helps Lyra, and they kill Stroller. Lyra starts to have flashbacks of her family and her life back in Ios as a child, and that together with the actions of Stroller, convinces her that she is from EOS and that Lieutenant Jake is her brother. Lieutenant Jake takes Lyra and runs to the exit, but they are intercepted by Adam, who threatens to shoot them unless Lyra turns back. Lyra refuses to, and they quickly escape. Lieutenant Jake returns to the shuttle with Lyra and the Marauders, and Alex start their shuttle. Mid-flight, father and daughter are reunited for the first time in a decade, and they share a tender moment. However, that's interrupted by the White faction as they send a missile after Alex's shuttle and hit them. Alec is forced to land the shuttle in the middle of nowhere. There, they try to come up with a solution. Tess calls and advises them on how they can make an explosive device out of their shuttle, fly it to the White faction shuttle, and jump off just before it crashes into it. Before Tess can conclude this discussion, Alex starts the shuttle and flies back to the White faction's shuttle to sacrifice himself while neutralizing the threat. Lieutenant Jake and Lyra are horrified to learn this and beg him over the intercom to change his mind and jump off before the collision. Alec ignores their plea and instead says his farewell and how much he loves them. The siblings watch in terror as their shuttle flies into the White faction, causing a massive explosion that's sure to kill everyone in proximity. Then the Marauders, Lieutenant Jake, and Lyra return to EOS to recount Alec's bravery and sacrifice. Then they organize a meeting with Matriarch Omaya and propose to form a united front that can use its diversity as a strength to build a strong dynasty throughout Mars, which everyone delightfully accepts, and so a new Red faction, composed of both the Marauders and colonists, is formed. Lieutenant Jake takes Lyra to their old house and her old bedroom. She nostalgically takes all of it in. What do you think about these reviews? Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed the recap, and subscribe to my channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one!